Hi, welcome back. In our previous lesson, we looked at what happens in the life cycle model when interest rate changes. Today, we'll be moving on to income and substitution effect of a change in interest rate in the life cycle model. In our previous lessons, we mentioned that depending on individual preferences, a decrease in interest rate can either increase or decrease saving in the life cycle model. Today, we'll be explaining this theoretical ambiguity by focusing on income and substitution effect for savers and borrowers. To begin with, let's make a reasonable assumption that present and future consumptions are both normal goods. So we represent present consumption as C0 and future consumption as C1. Now, this means that when lifetime income increases, holding all other factors constant, the individual chooses to increase consumption level in each period of his lifetime. So we'll begin our analysis with an individual who is initially a saver. A saver is simply someone whose consumption is lower than their income. So an equilibrium for such a person is represented in this figure here, where their present consumption, COF, is lower than their present income, IO. For an individual who is a saver, when the interest rate decreases, the following effect occurs. The first is the substitution effect. When referring to the substitution effect, what this means is that the opportunity cost of present consumption decreases due to the reduction in the amount of future consumption that is sacrificed for each dollar of present consumption. So this tends to increase present consumption and therefore reduce savings if the individual is a saver. The next thing is an income effect. So for income effect, if you are a saver, when interest rate decreases, you become poorer because the people whom you lend pay you less money. So because present consumption is a normal good, this decrease in your income tends to lower present consumption and therefore increase savings. Because the income and substitution effect for a saver, they work in opposite direction, the net effect is ambiguous. The net outcome therefore depends on whether the substitution effect is bigger or whether the income effect is bigger. In summary, what we are saying is for an individual who is a saver, when the interest rate reduces, substitution effect implies that savings are going to reduce, and income effect implies that savings are going to increase. So the net outcome is going to be ambiguous because it depends on which of these is bigger. Now let's move on to an individual who is a borrower. A borrower is somebody who consumes more than their present income and therefore has to borrow money against the future income to fund their present consumption. So the equilibrium for such a person is represented in this figure here, where their present consumption, C0F, is more than their present income, I0. So this difference is the amount that they have borrowed against their future income. For an individual who is a borrower, the substitution effect of a decrease in interest rate is to increase present consumption and therefore a decrease in savings, just like for a saver. So the substitution effect means savings are going to reduce. So this is the same as in the case of a saver. However, unlike a saver, the income effect of a decline in interest rate also tends to increase present consumption and therefore decrease savings. This is because if you're a borrower and the interest rate goes down, you may have to pay less money to your creditors, which in effect makes you richer. Because present consumption is a normal good, you therefore consume more of it, which reduces your savings. So you can see that for a person who is a borrower, when the interest rate reduces, we have substitution effect reducing savings and income effect also reducing savings. So the net effect of this is such that savings are going to go down. So this is all that we have on our lesson on income and substitution effect of a change in interest rate for the life cycle model. Our next lesson will be an algebraic representation of present and future values. If you enjoyed today's lesson, consider subscribing. Thank you.